What is going on, guys? We are here for week 2 Porsche Cup car at VIR. So this one's going to be a bit unique. So these cars, as a lot of people know, they're not fantastic in braking zones. They are quite easy to lock the front tires and slide off the track. So VIR is pretty. I wouldn't say it's a big braking zone track, but there is a couple of corners that will obviously be quite easy to outbrake yourself. So what we'll do, same as always, kick the car off, fire down into turn 1, we'll go through the lap, and then there'll be a hot lap at the end of the lap for you. So as you're coming down the start-finish line, you usually find yourself on the inside of the track. You want to start drifting yourself back out to the left-hand side. I'm using the 3 board to brake. It's probably like 290, 280, but I use that 3 board as a reference. As soon as I sort of blow past that, I know I'm pretty hard on the anchors. 6 gear, back to 2nd gear, so it's a big braking zone. It's opportunity to pass cars. And then I turn in quite early at the corner, so not long after the last board with the arrow on it, I start to turn the car. You can actually see the lock line. One of my practice laps, I actually did lock up, and it sort of shows you the line or the trajectory of the corner that I'm actually taking. So that actually did work out quite well. So I start to track the car in quite early. And then I get to the apex, but I don't hit the apex straight away. I sort of come past it a little bit, and then I want to clip it sort of at the end of this first curb and start to pick up quite a bit of power. The car will track wide, and then I slightly lift just to get the nose to tuck back in, so then I can get to this second curb, because it's sort of like a diamond sort of style of corner, the way you sort of hit it twice on the way out. So then coming up here, up through the gears, so the 4th gear, turn in nice and early, use all the apex. Now, you can run right out to the curb. I don't. I tend to place myself just here. I find that I can sort of get the car to turn in a little bit easier if I'm a little bit shallow through the corner. And I've had issues in the past in different cars where I've dropped a wheel off the back of that curb quite easily, because you do carry a lot more speed on the entry of this corner than you probably realise at the time. And then, so back to 2nd gear, get the car to rotate, clip the curb, carry the speed up to 3rd. Over the back of the curb's fine. Brake nice and early here because it's quite a tight turn. So back to 2nd gear. Now, when you apex here, you want to stay as far to the left-hand side as possible. So you apex in, but sacrifice your entry speed so you can set yourself up like over this side of the track on the left-hand side. That way you're going to open up the next corner. I short shift to 3rd gear to give myself a bit more stability in the rear. So short shift to 3rd right here on the apex, and then let the car track out nice and wide on the exit, right to the edge of the curb. A little lift as you turn in, so at the end of the curb you start to turn in, a little tiny lift just to let that nose tuck in a little bit more, and then pick that throttle up and carry all that speed up through all the gears. Use the curb on either side of the road to sort of make the track as straight as possible. So through these flip-flops, full noise, use the curbing on both sides. And then when we get to here, so as I clip this apex, I start to brake and I lift off the throttle. I lift off the throttle first, get the car to start rotating, and then I touch a little bit of brake just to trail it in. I downshift to 5th quite early, so I'm quite high in the RPM as I come over the crest. I set myself up on the right-hand side of the track. As soon as I get over that crest bit of the track and sort of in line with the end of the tyre bundles from the flag stand on the right-hand side, that's when I downshift to 4th gear. So downshift to 4th, let the car track in, turning quite early at the corner, use all the curbing, let the car track out nice and wide over the back of the corner, and then head down the hill, brake just after the 3 board, so about 275. 4th gear, you'll be back to 5th, so then back to third gear on entry, turn in at the last sign, turn in quite early, back to second here on the apex, let the car track out. I don't go right to the outside, I sort of stay about here. It's enough to disincentivize anybody from trying to stick it down the inside, but it's using most of the track. I turn the car back at the corner in second, touch the curb, let the car track out over the back of the curb here, use all the track, carry that speed down the back straight, up through all the gears. So the next braking zone is the challenging one. So, because you're going uphill, so you can brake quite late, but with this car and then the downward drop and then the turn as you're braking, it is quite a challenge. So I'm braking around the 260 mark, so it's just after the 3 board. 6 gear, back to second by the entry of the corner. So I probably bang down 2 gears back to 4th as I'm going up the hill, then 3rd at the curb on the left-hand side here. And then the last gear shift back to 2nd is about here, so it's just before the corner. I don't go right to the edge of the road, I stay pretty sort of centered in, and I focus on trying to clip that apex. 2nd gear, clip the apex, carry a lot of corner over the curb. Same again here, the drop down. Up to 3rd, up to 4th. Then this one is back to 3rd. Lots of curb on the entry. Set yourself up more to the left than the right. Like the race line looks like you want to be on the right, but if you can open yourself up, you're sacrificing a little bit on exit, you're going to be able to carry a lot more speed out of the final complex and down the front straight into turn 1. So I set myself up about here, 3rd gear. Once I turn the car in at the corner, grab all the curb, let the car track out nice and wide, a little lift, just so the nose tucks back in, and then pick that throttle up and carry the throttle all the way to the start-finish line. Use all the track on the exit, and there you go, guys. That is a lap of Virginia International Raceway. So we'll fire up a hot lap now, and good luck for the week, and we'll see you next week for week 3. Thanks again, guys. Bye.
Your last lap time was a 151.18. Sector 3 is a 10th off your best. Sector 1 time's okay. Sector 2 time is good.
And that, guys, is the lap of VIR for week 2. We'll see you next week for week 3.
You've just done a 149.44.